A 12-year-old black girl walked into the Steel Riders clubhouse holding a loaded revolver and demanded to know which one of them was her biological father. "My grandmother is dead," she announced, her voice steady despite the tears streaming down her face. "She told me before she died that one of you is my dad, and I have 72 hours before social services ships me to my aunt in another state." Diesel, president of the Steel Riders, slowly rose from his seat at the head of the table. "Easy there, young lady," he said, hands visible and non-threatening. "Point that weapon somewhere else." "Not until somebody tells me the truth," the girl said, her aim never wavering. "Nana said my father would be here, and she never lied to me once in her entire life." "What's your name?" Diesel asked. "Kennedy Washington," she replied. "My grandmother was Loretta Washington, and she said she used to cook for you all about 13 years ago. The best soul food in 3 counties. Every single rider in that clubhouse remembered Miss Loretta. Sweet woman, kind heart, and hands that could turn the simplest ingredients into heaven on a plate. She'd worked there for 2 years before disappearing without warning. Now they understood why. "Where's your grandmother now, Kennedy?" asked Hammer, the road captain, a mountain of a man covered in tattoos. "Mountain View Cemetery," Kennedy said quietly. "Buried her yesterday. She had a stroke 3 days ago. Massive brain bleed from when her boyfriend Raymond threw her into the kitchen counter." The atmosphere in the room turned ice cold. "But before she died, she was conscious for maybe 20 minutes, Kennedy continued, the gun shaking slightly now. "She couldn't talk much, but she wrote down 5 names on a piece of paper and said, 'Go to Steel Riders, show them, your father will know.'" She pulled out a crumpled paper with her free hand. 5 names were scrawled in shaky handwriting. Diesel, Hammer, Ghost, Crow, and Prophet. Diesel recognized every name. 4 of them were in this room right now. Prophet had died in a motorcycle accident 2 years ago. "She said my real father would protect me," Kennedy whispered, her voice breaking. "But she wouldn't tell me which one because she was scared. Scared of Raymond." "Scared of what exactly?" Diesel pressed. "Raymond Banks. He's a city councilman, and he told Nana that if she ever revealed who my father was, he'd make sure I disappeared. Said he has connections everywhere, police, judges, social workers. Said no one would ever find me. A corrupt politician threatening a dying woman and her granddaughter. This was about to get messy. "Kennedy, I need you to lower that weapon so we can talk this through properly," Diesel said. "No," Kennedy said firmly. "Someone here has to be my father. Someone has to claim me." She was crying harder now, but maintained her stance. "I can't go live with Aunt Sharon. Raymond's brother's her husband. He already told me what he does to girls who don't listen." The implications of that statement made every biker in the room ready to commit violence. If you believe bikers are the good people, subscribe to this channel and show us your support. Wire, their tech specialist, was already pulling up information on his laptop. Raymond Banks, city councilman for District 7, real estate developer on the side, 3 sexual harassment complaints, all settled out of court with NDAs. Wire kept reading. "Guy's slippery, connected to Judge Morrison, who happens to oversee family court cases." "Morrison's the one who fast-tracks foster placements," Hammer growled, "the same judge involved in that trafficking ring investigation that went nowhere." Diesel noticed something critical about Kennedy. She held that revolver with practiced ease. Trigger discipline, proper stance, eyes on target. "Who taught you to handle a gun like that?" "Nana did," Kennedy answered. "She said I'd need to know how to protect myself when she was gone. Started teaching me when I was 8. Diesel made a decision. "Kennedy, listen carefully. We're all going to be your father until we sort out which one of us actually is. Every man in this room." "That doesn't make any sense," Kennedy protested. "It makes perfect sense in our world," Diesel explained. "You walked in here asking for protection. That's what you'll get from every single rider here, blood or not." "But a DNA test takes time," Kennedy said. "Your grandmother's already gone and you've got 72 hours, Diesel interrupted. "We don't need DNA to keep you safe. That comes later." Kennedy finally lowered the gun slightly. "You swear?" "Steel Riders don't make empty promises," Hammer said. "Especially not to kids." That's when they heard the vehicles pulling up outside. Multiple engines, expensive cars. "Did you tell anyone you were coming here?" Diesel asked. "No, but Raymond put a tracking app on my phone," Kennedy admitted. He monitors everywhere I go. Give me the phone, Wire ordered. Kennedy handed it over. Wire immediately popped out the SIM card and crushed it under his boot. Too late, called out Chains from the window. 6 SUVs, not cops, private security. Raymond Banks walked in like he owned the world. Tall, well-dressed, with the smile of a snake and eyes that made Kennedy instinctively move behind Diesel. There you are, sweetheart, Raymond said with false warmth. You had us worried sick. Time to go home. She's not going anywhere with you, Diesel stated flatly. Raymond chuckled. 15 bikers with criminal records against my security team, and the police I can call with one phone call. You really want to play this game? She's mine, said a voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned to see Ghost, the club's enforcer. 6'3", covered in burn scars from his time as a firefighter, a man who spoke only when absolutely necessary. I'm sorry, what? Raymond said, his smile faltering. Kennedy is my daughter, Ghost stated clearly. I want a paternity test to prove it. Raymond's expression darkened. Doesn't matter. I'm her legal guardian. Loretta signed papers before she died. She signed those papers while drugged on morphine, Kennedy shouted. She didn't even know what she was signing. Prove it, Raymond challenged. That's when attorney Michelle Torres walked through the door, briefcase in hand. Yeah, I can prove it, she announced. I'm Loretta Washington's estate lawyer, and I have her will, properly notarized and filed 3 years ago. Raymond went pale. That's impossible. What's impossible? Michelle continued, pulling out documents. That a woman who knew she was in danger made sure her granddaughter would be protected? Loretta named Ghost here as Kennedy's guardian should anything happen to her. She didn't know my real name, Ghost said quietly. She knew your birth name, Michelle replied. Marcus James Miller, former firefighter, the man who saved her from a house fire 13 years ago. The room went silent. That's not legal, Raymond sputtered. Those papers are fake. The notary stamp and state filing aren't fake, Michelle countered, and neither is the police report Loretta filed 2 weeks ago detailing your abuse and threats. Raymond reached inside his jacket. 15 bikers moved faster. I wouldn't, Diesel warned. You're surrounded, and your security team outside doesn't know what's happening in here. Raymond's radio crackled. Banks, you need assistance in there? He grabbed the radio. No, just talking to the girl. But Kennedy had already grabbed Wire's phone and was dialing. Don't, Raymond started. 911, what's your emergency? The operator answered on speaker. My name is Kennedy Washington, she said clearly. I'm at the Steel Riders clubhouse and Raymond Banks is trying to kidnap me. My grandmother filed a police report about him before she died. You little... Raymond lunged for her. Ghost intercepted him mid-air, slamming him into the wall so hard the mounted television nearly fell. Touch my daughter and it's the last thing you do, Ghost said, his voice deadly calm. Raymond triggered something in his pocket. Suddenly, his security team started forcing their way in. This was about to become a bloodbath. That's when something unexpected happened. Detective Sarah Chen walked through the door, badge held high, followed by 6 officers. Everybody freeze! Finally, Raymond said, straightening his suit. These bikers are holding a minor. Raymond Banks! Detective Chen interrupted. You're under arrest for the murder of Loretta Washington. The room went dead silent. That's insane, Raymond protested. She had a stroke. Caused by blunt force trauma, Chen continued. The autopsy revealed bleeding that was 2 days older than her stroke. Bleeding consistent with being thrown into a counter, as Kennedy reported. The girl's lying. She's just a child. The security footage from your condo building isn't lying, Chen replied. The doorman kept a copy for us. Shows you pushing Loretta, shows her hitting the counter, shows you threatening the doorman to keep quiet. Raymond's face twisted. I want my lawyer. You'll get one, Chen said as officers cuffed him. We also have your computer files, Raymond, the ones about the girls you and Judge Morrison trafficked through the foster system. I want my lawyer, Raymond screamed as they dragged him out, but the question still remained. Who was Kennedy's father? I got you. Just click like and subscribe to this channel and show us your support. Please like and subscribe. Michelle Torres pulled out another envelope. Loretta left something else, she said, handing it to Ghost. Ghost opened it carefully. Inside was a letter and a photograph. The photo showed Loretta, much younger, holding a baby in a hospital. Standing next to her was a firefighter still in his gear, soot on his face, smiling at the infant. That's me, Ghost whispered. I remember. The house fire was on Maple Street. I carried her out. She was pregnant and terrified. I visited her in the hospital to make sure she was okay. You brought flowers, Kennedy said suddenly. Nana told me. Yellow roses. She said the firefighter with the sad eyes brought her yellow roses and asked if she needed anything. Ghost nodded slowly. I asked if she had family. She said no. I gave her my number and told her to call if she ever needed help. Why didn't she? Diesel asked. Because I got hurt, Ghost said, touching his burn scars. 3 months later, warehouse fire. I was in the ICU for 2 months. Lost my phone, my apartment, everything. When I got out, I couldn't remember her name or where she lived. I tried to find her, but Nana thought you forgot about her, Kennedy finished. She said the firefighter never called back. I never forgot, Ghost said, his voice breaking. I just couldn't find you. Michelle handed Ghost another paper. This is a DNA test Loretta ordered 3 months ago. She took Kennedy to a clinic, and somehow she got your DNA from a cup you used at a diner you frequent. That's legally questionable, Diesel noted. It won't hold up in court, Michelle admitted, but it gave Loretta peace of mind. Ghost looked at the results. 99.9% probability of paternity. You're her father, Michelle confirmed. Ghost's legs gave out. He sat down hard, the paper shaking in his scarred hands. I have a daughter. You have a daughter, Kennedy said, moving toward him cautiously. Are you okay with that? Ghost looked up at her, tears streaming down his face. Am I okay with that? Kennedy, I've been trying to find you and your grandmother for 12 years. Why? Kennedy asked. Because when I held you in that hospital, you grabbed my finger and looked at me, and I knew, Ghost said. I knew you were mine, I felt it, but I had no proof, and Loretta never told me. Then I got hurt, and I lost everything. Why didn't Nana tell you when she found you again? Kennedy asked. Because I asked her not to, said another voice. Everyone turned to see Judge Morrison being escorted in by 2 FBI agents. You? Diesel said, standing. I told Loretta that if she ever revealed who Kennedy's father was, I'd make sure the child disappeared into the system, Morrison admitted. Raymond and I had an arrangement. Pretty girls brought in good money from the right clients. Kennedy went pale. Ghost stood up, rage radiating from him. But Loretta was smart, Morrison continued almost admiringly. She kept evidence, recordings, documents, everything. Told me if anything happened to her, it all went to the FBI, so I backed off, and Raymond was supposed to keep her quiet. He got impatient. You're admitting to conspiracy to traffic minors, Detective Chen said, shocked. I'm admitting everything, Morrison said, because I'm dying. Stage 4 cancer, 6 months maybe, and I'm taking everyone down with me. Full immunity for testimony. The FBI agents confirmed. He's wearing a wire, has been for 3 weeks. We have Raymond, 2 other councilmen, 4 social workers, and a dozen clients on recording. How many kids? Hammer asked quietly. 73 that we know of, one agent said, over the past 8 years. The room exploded in rage. It took Diesel and 3 others to keep the bikers from tearing Morrison apart despite the FBI presence. Let the law handle him, Detective Chen said. He'll spend what's left of his miserable life in prison. Morrison was led away, and the FBI began taking statements from everyone. But through it all, Ghost sat with Kennedy, holding the photo of him with her as a baby. I'm sorry I couldn't find you, he whispered. Nana said everything happens when it's supposed to, Kennedy replied. Maybe I found you when we both needed it most. The DNA results that Loretta had obtained were eventually validated with a court-ordered test. Ghost was confirmed as Kennedy's biological father, though by then it didn't matter. The entire Steel Riders Club had adopted her as their own. She had 15 fathers, all teaching her different skills. Diesel taught her leadership and strategy. Hammer taught her mechanics and how to ride. Wire taught her coding and digital security. Chains taught her art. He was a talented welder and sculptor. And Ghost? He taught her what she needed most, how to heal from trauma, how to trust after betrayal, how to be strong while staying soft. Kennedy moved into Ghost's house, a small ranch with a big yard. He taught her to garden, to cook, to rebuild engines. He told her stories about her grandmother, about the day he met Loretta, about how he'd spent years wondering about the pregnant woman he'd saved and the baby who'd grabbed his finger. Raymond Banks was sentenced to life without parole for murder. Judge Morrison died in prison 4 months into his sentence. The trafficking ring was dismantled, and 73 children were identified and placed in safe homes. Kennedy became an honorary member of the Steel Riders, the first kid to ever earn the title. Her patch read, "Found Daughter," but she wasn't just found. She was a warrior who'd walked into a biker clubhouse with a loaded gun and changed everything. The Steel Riders still tell the story of the night a 12-year-old girl demanded to know which of them was her father. How she found not just her biological dad, but an entire brotherhood of protectors. How sometimes family isn't who shares your DNA, but who chooses to stand beside you when everything falls apart. And sometimes, a brave girl with her grandmother's courage saves not just herself, but 73 other children who needed someone to fight for them. The revolver Kennedy carried that night is mounted on the wall of the clubhouse. Below it, a plaque reads, "The night Kennedy, Washington walked in alone and gave 15 riders a reason to be heroes." Ghost looks at it every day and remembers. Not the fear, not the near violence, but the moment his daughter found him after 12 years of searching. That's what real family does. They find each other across time, across pain, across everything that tries to keep them apart. And when they do, they hold on with everything they have. And sometimes they walk into your life holding a loaded gun, desperate and brave, and give you back a piece of yourself you thought was lost forever. If you believe bikers are the good people, subscribe to this channel and show us your support.